Everyone, I'm super excited to bring you another in-depth session on CMA USA Part 2, where we break down complex finance topics into simple, practical lessons. Today, we'll be discussing marginal analysis, a crucial concept in managerial decision-making that helps businesses maximize profit by analyzing the additional costs and benefits of a decision. By the end of this video, you'll master marginal cost, marginal revenue, and marginal product relevant costs and sunk costs, opportunity costs, explicit versus implicit costs, key formulas for decision-making, and much more. So, grab a notebook and stay till the end for a bonus case study that will help you apply these concepts in real-world scenarios. Let's get started. Marginal analysis is the process of evaluating the additional benefits and costs of a decision before taking action. It helps businesses determine whether increasing or decreasing production, adjusting pricing, or making investments is financially beneficial. Imagine you're running a bakery. If you bake one more cake, will the extra revenue you earn be greater than the extra cost of ingredients, labor, and electricity? That's marginal analysis in action. Section 2. Marginal product, marginal cost, and marginal revenue. Marginal product, or MP, is the extra output generated by using one additional unit of input, like hiring one more worker or using an extra machine. Example. A factory produces 100 chairs per day with 5 workers. If hiring a 6th worker increases production to 110 chairs, the marginal product of the new worker is 10 chairs. Marginal cost, or MC, is the extra cost of producing one more unit of a product. So, the formula is MC equals the change in total cost divided by the change in quantity produced, where the change in total cost, or DTC, is the difference in total cost, and the change in quantity produced, or DQ, is the difference in the quantity produced. For example, if producing an additional widget increases total costs from $500 to $520, the marginal cost is $20. Marginal revenue, or MR, is the extra revenue generated by selling one more unit. The formula is MR equals the change in total revenue divided by the change in quantity sold. Here, the change in total revenue, or DTR, is the difference in total revenue, and the change in quantity sold, or DQ, is the difference in the quantity sold. Let's consider an example. If a company sells an additional toy and revenue increases from $200 to $230, the marginal revenue is $30. Here's a simple decision rule to keep in mind. If marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, increase production. If marginal revenue is less than marginal cost, reduce production. Now let's move on to Section 3. Relevant costs and revenues in decision-making. Relevant costs are those that impact decision-making because they change based on the choice you make. Alright, let's dive into the types of relevant costs. First, we have incremental or differential costs. These are the extra costs incurred from choosing one alternative over another. Next up, marginal costs. This is the cost of producing one additional unit. And finally, avoidable costs. These are costs that can be eliminated by choosing a different option. Here's an example to make things clearer. If a company decides to outsource production, the cost of in-house labor and materials is avoidable. Now, let's talk about sunk costs. These are irrecoverable past costs that should not influence future decisions. So here's a quick example. If a company spent $100,000 on research and development, but the project turns out to be unprofitable, well, that cost is sunk and should not affect future decisions. Now, why are sunk costs not relevant? Because they cannot be recovered, they should not impact future decision-making. Alright, let's dive into Section 4. Explicit versus implicit costs and opportunity costs. Explicit costs are direct, out-of-pocket expenses like, salaries, rent, and raw materials. On the other hand, implicit costs are the value of resources not directly paid for. For example, the opportunity cost of using a company-owned building instead of renting it out. Opportunity cost, the best alternative foregone when making a decision. Example: if you invest $10,000 in a business, the opportunity cost is the interest you could have earned by putting that money in a savings account. Section 5. Key cost formulas, total cost or TC. Alright, let's dive into the total cost formula. It's represented as total cost equals fixed costs plus variable costs. So we have TC equals FC plus VC. This formula helps us understand the sum of all costs involved in production. Next, we have the average total cost formula. It's denoted as ATC equals TC divided by Q, where Q is the quantity of output produced. Essentially, this formula gives us the cost per unit of output. Finally, let's look at the average fixed cost formula. It's represented as AFC equals FC divided by Q. Here, FC stands for fixed costs, and Q is the quantity of output. This formula helps us determine the fixed cost per unit of output. Alright, so let's dive into the average variable cost, or AVC for short. The formula for AVC is the variable cost divided by the quantity of output. In other words, AVC equals VC over Q. Now let's go through an example to make this a bit clearer. Suppose the total cost is $5,000 and the production is 100 units. In this case, the average total cost, or ATC, would be $50 per unit. If the fixed cost is $2,000, the average fixed cost, or AFC, would be $20 per unit. And finally, if the variable cost is $3,000, the average variable cost, or AVC, would be $30 per unit. Simple, right? Alright, let's dive into some important formulas. First, we have marginal cost, or MC. The formula is MC equals the change in total cost divided by the change in quantity. Next, we have marginal revenue, or MR. The formula for MR is the change in total revenue divided by the change in quantity. Now let's summarize and go over some key takeaways from this section. Marginal analysis helps in smart decision-making by evaluating extra costs and benefits. Relevant costs, like incremental and avoidable costs, matter, while sunk costs should be ignored. Opportunity costs help assess trade-offs. And don't forget, key formulas like MC, MR, TC, ATC, AVC, and AFC help analyze production decisions. Moving on to Section 7, which includes a bonus case study and a call to action. Here's a bonus question for you. A company's variable cost per unit increases by 10%. What should they do to maintain their profit margin? Comment below with your answers. Don't forget to subscribe for more CMA USA exam prep. Hit like if this video helped you, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. See you in the next lecture.